It is the top of the hour, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Welcome everybody to our virtual book talk on the upcoming book, Never Enough. This webinar is hosted by Family Leadership Center. My name is Laura Rakovic, and I work for Family Leadership Center. Who we are is we provide the tools to help you raise the bar for your family and community. Our mission is to educate parents, teachers, and caregivers in principles based on Adlerian psychology that encourage young people to lead and contribute to society. So through our work, family leaders are given tools, practices to address challenges, and those can be challenges, everything from the small daily struggles of getting out of the door in the morning, taking care of responsibility for homework, completing family chores, all the way to shifting a family climate around things like power struggles or sibling rivalry. We address all of those challenges. Family Leadership Center is a nonprofit organization. We are for parents, caregivers, teachers, and community leaders who want to bring out the best in children and teens. So through our programs, adults understand more about human behavior, why children misbehave, and how to best help them grow and live in positive, contributing ways. So we're joined today by Marjie Longshore, who founded Family Leadership Center in 2016. Now, Marjie read her first parenting book when she was, long before she was a parent, when she was 9 years old, and her interest in child and adult development continues to this day. She has a master's in education from Harvard, and Marjie has worked in the field of education and adult development for her entire career. So whether she's working with adults or children, Marjie sees the power of helping people to develop belonging and contribute to others. And our special guest today is Jennie Wallace. Jennie is an award-winning journalist and social commentator covering parenting and lifestyle trends. She's a frequent contributor to the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post, and appears on television to discuss her articles and other hot topics in the news. So after graduating Harvard College, Jennie began her career in television at 60 Minutes, where she worked as a journalist for many years. And she lives in New York City with her husband and their 3 children. So to give you a brief background on how we ended up together here today, Marjie and Jennie first met when Jennie was doing research for this upcoming book that we'll be talking about today called Never Enough. And what started as an interview for some research became a collaboration and a friendship. And as Marjie and Jennie quickly realized, their messages for parents and children that they hope to spread in today's world have so much in common. And one topic that they are both very passionate about, and that's the one we'll be covering today, is the rise of toxic achievement culture. So I think it's becoming clear to most of us parents today that kids thrive best when they're encouraged, not so much when they're pressured, when they know they matter beyond their test scores or their grades or their sports achievements. So in this upcoming book, Never Enough, Jennie investigates these deep roots of toxic achievement culture. So she drew upon interviews with families, educators, an original survey of over 6,000 parents. And she exposes in the book how the pressure to perform is not necessarily a matter of parental choice, but it's baked into our larger society and spurred on by increasing income inequality and dwindling opportunities. So as a result, our kids are increasingly absorbing the message that they have no value outside of their accomplishments. And that's a message that gets reinforced by the media and greater culture at large. So Jennie's research and interviews revealed that what kids really need from us as adults is not more pressure, but to feel like they matter, and that kids have intrinsic self-worth that's not contingent upon external achievements. So parents and educators who adopt the language and values of mattering help children see themselves as valuable contributors to a larger community. And kids who receive consistent feedback that they matter, no matter what, are more likely to have the resilience, self-confidence, and psychological security to thrive. And so Marjie, in her own work, has been spreading this message of mattering, or as she might say, counting, to families as well, creating a family environment where everyone's voice counts and you know you matter. That's one of Family Leadership Center's core tenets as well. So you can see how this collaboration between these 2 amazing women was so easily forged. So Marjie and Jennie, I am really looking forward to the conversation you all will lead about this important topic today. So thank you both for being here. Just one note of housekeeping. We very much encourage questions from our webinar attendees today. Thank you for being here. I'll be monitoring the Q&A. So if you would like to ask a question or make a comment at any time, you can click along the bottom of your screen. You should see a button that says Q&A. Click that button, type in your question, and I'll be monitoring the chat, and I will jump in with questions as they come. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Marjie. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Laura.
You're welcome.
Really great. Jenny, we can pack up our books now, and Laura's just done.
Thank you for sharing the message. That's great. Thank you so much, Laura.
Jenny, when my daughter saw the title of your book on our table, she said, "Thank goodness somebody's finally written a book about this." She took a deep breath, and I was like, yes. So thank you, Jenny, for writing this book and for being with us here today and helping to share this message. And I'm just so excited to talk, and the book is phenomenal. So I've also been really looking forward to being with you today, because every time I'm with you, you ask such thoughtful questions, and I'm excited to get to be the one to ask you questions today.
I just want to say thank you to you both and your community. And, I'm sure we'll get into this later on in the Q&A, but I met Marjie, as part of my interview, and Marjie and her children actually they show up a lot in the book, and not a lot of characters or people that I interviewed are in multiple chapters, but Marjie is. And it's because every time I speak with Marjie, I learn something so new, and a new way of seeing my kids and seeing myself and seeing our family unit that I'm just thrilled to be able to bring a little taste of your wisdom to readers. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that. Well, one of my first questions is that you spent almost 4 years researching and writing this book. What brought you to write a book on achievement pressure to begin with?
Yeah, so I have 3 teenagers, as was mentioned in the bio, and my oldest was in 8th grade, and it suddenly dawned on me that I only had 4 years left to really have him at home and to be able to hammer home lessons that I wanted him to take when he left. And we are, as modern parents, we are so busy. I wanted to figure out, where should I focus my parental energy in these next 4 years? What will really matter? And so I sort of started this quest, my own personal quest. And then in 2019, I wrote an article for the Washington Post that was reporting on 2 national policy reports, one from the National Academies and one from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. These are really credible policy reports that, as our government uses to write policy. And they were naming a new at-risk group. And these were kids who researchers call students in high achieving schools. These are competitive public and private schools around the country, where there are rich extracurricular offerings, advanced classes. Most of the kids go off to 4-year colleges. Those kids were now an at-risk group, at risk for clinical levels of anxiety, depression, suicide ideation, and substance abuse disorder. And those are my kids. My kids go to a high achieving school by these researchers' definitions. And so I wanted to know what I could do in my own home with my own family, and to protect my kids against this. And so that started me on my 4-year journey.
Yeah. So it was personally meaningful to you.
It was. And
right at home.
The researchers, it's funny, they have a word for it. When you research things that are really important to you and personal, they call it me search. So I did research this really for myself, also for you. But it was a personal quest.
Yeah, it shows, though. I mean, and this comes up in your book a lot. It's that we're never alone, and that we make a difference for everybody by what we're doing. And you doing that is making an impact, a huge ripple around the world. So Thanks. Let's see. I'm curious to know because you've interviewed top psychologists, researchers, you've done an extensive survey yourself. What advice was most important to you in your own family that you took?
Yeah. So I would say the number one piece of advice was from Sonia Luthar, who is one of the leading researchers. She passed away a few months ago, but up until her death, she was one of the leading researchers in the world on resilience. And what she told me was that my home, when I said to her, what can I do? I have these 3 teenagers in my house. She said, home needs to be a haven. And she said, your kids are saturated with pressure at school, with their peers, on social media, in the wider culture. These messages that they have to achieve, they have to do more, they have these opportunities, they have to take them all. And what what she said was, at home, your job as a parent is to create a safe space where your kids don't have to perform, where they don't have to prove themselves worthy of being, that they are worthy just for, being your child, for being who they are deep at their core. And so when I said to her, well, the messages we get as parents is that, it's our job to help our kids reach their full potential. What am I supposed to do around that? And I'm sure we'll get into that later, but she said, no, she said, what's different now than maybe was in the 70s is that these messages of achievement pressure are ever present. They're everywhere. She said, your kids don't need it from you too. You need to be the safe base that they come home to recover from these messages.
Man, I got chills. I love the idea of making your home a safe haven, and that is our number one job for our families. So, well,
Before you continue, ladies, I'm so sorry to interrupt. We did have one person in the chat say that they were having a little bit of trouble hearing Jennie. So I'm not having that trouble, but I just want to make sure that nobody else is. So I don't know if that means turn up microphone